Hello, good day. I'm back for another lecture. I will be discussing in this lecture reference lists, diba? How to prepare your references, the references of your research paper. Okay, what is reference lists? Reference list appears at the end of the paper or research proposal. It is a complete information of the sources cited in the paper must be presented in this section. So, in the references, diba? References composed of complete information of the sources cited in your paper. So, if you cite information in your, diba, in your related literature and related studies, and then even in chapter 1, you must, diba, you must put that reference in the references or reference lists. Reference lists should be formatted with hanging indentation, diba, based on EPA format or American Psychological Association. We will be following EPA because EPA format is used for business and social sciences research. Considering that naata sa business and social sciences research, we will be applying EPA format, diba? EPA format 2010. And then the reference list should be in hanging indentation format, diba? Hanging indentation format. Okay. Entries must be alphabetized by the last name of the first author of each work. You should only capitalize the first word of the title of the book, articles or chapters. Name of books or journals are italicized, diba? Name of books or journals are italicized only. And here are some example materials cited in researches must presented below. Take note, entries must be alphabetized by the last name of the first author of each work. You should only capitalize the first word of the title of the books, articles, or chapters, and then names of books or journals are only italicized based on EPA format. Okay, we will start here. Journal article with a single author. Journal article with a single author. So here is a sample reference for journal article with a single author. Okay, first is the author's last name, diba? The first name initial, and then followed by middle name initial, then year of publication, title of the article, title of journal publication, volume number, issue number, page number. Take note that name of journal and name of journal should be italicized. So here is the example. Author's last name, Verdent, diba? TJ, and then year of publication 2002, and then title of the article, entrepreneurial knowledge of MBA students, and then the name of journal should be italicized, Journal of Business Education, and then page 11 to volume 11, volume numbers 11, issue numbers 2, and then page number 7 to 10. This is an example of journal articles with a single author. Okay, next. Journal article with 3 or more authors. The same with number 1, but you need to include all the 3 or more authors. First author's last name, middle name, first name initial, middle name initial. Second author's last name, first name initial, middle name initial. So this is the example. So Kernes, M.H., Cornell, D.R., and San, C.R., Berry, A., Harlow, T. And then so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 authors. And then the title of the journal, the role of self-esteem in the success of business and managerial perspective. Then italize, diba? You have to italize the name of journal, Journal of Business Psychology, volume 65, page issue number 2, page 190 to 1204. So this is for journal. However, for book, diba? For book by a single author, author's last name, first name initial, middle name initial, year of publication, title of work, capital letter, also for subtitle if any, and place of publication, name of publisher. So example, Anasin CG 2018, and then take note that you have to italize the title of the book, Doing Practical Research in Business and Marketing, period, Malabon City, colon, and then Malabon City is the place of publication, then colon, and the name of publisher, Mutia Publishing House Incorporated. And then the same with 2 or more authors, but you have to include 2 or more authors to you have to mention all authors, diba? Calfe RC and Valencia RR, 1991. You have to italize the title of the book, and then Washington DC, the name of place of publishing, and then American Psychological Association. For article in an edited book, diba? Sa edited book, the same with journal, pero you have to emphasize the editor, diba? Article in an edited book, author's last name, first name initial, middle name initial, year of publication, title of article, colons, capital letter, also for subtitle if any, and in title of the book, editor's first name initial, middle name initial, last name, and then ed, diba? Abbreviation for editor, and then place of publication, colon, and the name of publisher. Here's an example, Plath S 2000. The title of the article is The Unabridged Journals. Then editor is KV Kokil. So the difference is that sa author's last name, mauna si author's last name, and then first name initial and middle name initial. Pero sa editor, mauna ang first name sa editor, middle name, and then last name. So KV Kokil, and then Eddie for editor, New York as place of publication, and then New York, and then the name of publisher is Anchor. Okay, for encyclopedia entry, author's last name, first name initial, middle name initial, year of publication, title of encyclopedia entry, name of book, volume number, page number, place of publication, name of publisher. Example, Bergman, PG, 1993, Relativity, the title of encyclopedia entry. In the new Encyclopedia Britannica, diba? The name of the book, and then volume 26, page 501, and then naputol siya. And then followed by place of publication and name of publisher. For unpublished dissertation and thesis, diba, for researches, related studies, author's last name, first name initial, middle name initial. If there are 3 or more authors, diba, you have to include all the name of the authors, and then title of dissertation or title of thesis, and published doctoral dissertation, name of institution, location. Example, Anasin CG 2016. You have to underline the title of dissertation for unpublished dissertation and thesis, trajectories of nightlife culture in Baguio City, and published master's thesis, and then like for example, Mindanao City University, the name of institution, and then Dato Panasbug Zamboanga Sebugay. Because it is proper to observe ethical practices in conducting researches, it is also imperative that literature being cited in the literature review should be acknowledged accordingly. By properly citing sources information in our research, we are upholding our stand as an ethical researcher and avoiding conflicts. Next topic will be plagiarism. Diba? A case that we should avoid as researcher. Diba? What is plagiarism? Plagiarism is basically the act and practice of directly copying an idea or a quotation from an original source without properly acknowledging or attributing the source of the idea and passing this idea as one's own. It is important for a researcher to be aware of the concept of plagiarism and to avoid it by all means, because this is an indication of low quality of the research, the incompetence of the researcher, and an unethical practice. So if the researcher plagiarizes, it shows that the research is low quality, and then it shows that the researcher is incompetent, and then the researcher does not follow ethical practices. To avoid this to happen, be sure to properly cite and attribute your sources, the proper citation and proper referencing. Try to paraphrase as much as possible. And there are 2 couple ways to do paraphrasing to avoid plagiarism. Number 1, state a fact or make a claim. Make a claim in the text, then cite your source in parentheses within the same sentence. It has been demonstrated that immediate and then you can also use the source as the subject of your sentence, diba? Or in a similar study. Again, there are a couple of ways to do paraphrasing to avoid plagiarism. State a fact or make a claim in the text, then cite your source in parentheses within the same sentence. It has been demonstrated that immediate recall is extremely limited to 5-year-old children, according to Jones 1998. This example of paraphrasing. Okay, another example. Previous research has shown that response to an auditory stimulus is much faster than response to a visual stimulus, according to Smith and Jones 2003. What we are using here is end text citation. Also, you can another example, You can also use the source as the subject of your sentence. In a related study, Jones 2005 found that this is an example of in-text citation. Strictly speaking, citing other authors only means referring to them or their work and bringing them into your text by making your idea and their idea argue with each other. To attribute an idea is publicly associate an author with a particular opinion, finding, or actual statement, or perhaps quoted. But more than just mere citing and attributing an idea to an author or listing down citation, you need to do and have a critical assessment or insight about the material or their ideas and present your own understanding in a concise, logical, reader-friendly manner. So, if we are going to cite information in our research, it doesn't mean nga, cite lang nimo according to ani din, humana dayon. No, that's not the case. You have to cite an information and then cite the idea of the author, and then after that one is, after citing, you have to present your own understanding, diba, in a concise, logical, and reader-friendly manner. That's why you will do paraphrasing, and then many more. You are going to synthesize. That's the purpose. So, cite nimo ang related literature nga, information nga sa usa ka author, and then you are to give your point of view, your understanding in a concise, logical, reader-friendly manner. That's it. Thank you for listening. God bless.